Welcome to another episode and new season of You Grow Girl podcast. I'm your host, Stacey C. And as you heard, we are in a new season. And with this new season, we are officially going to be on YouTube. So that's exciting. And I am excited that You Grow Girl podcast is growing from only audio to being video and audio. So this season, I will be hopefully doing more than just one podcast a month. That is my goal. And I will also be having additional guests. Like today, I have my good friend, Megan, and we had her on the show previously last season. I love the sound of that last season. But let's get into the topic of today. So we did a episode last season on dating. It was season 1, episode 3. And I'm here with my guest and friend, Megan. And we're going to be talking about dating. So, Megan, do you want to reintroduce yourself to the friends or the as what do they call them nowadays? The chat.
Listeners? Oh yeah,
On
chat.
the chat. We can't
Sure.
sound old.
I know. Trying to prevent that. Hi everyone. I'm Megan, and I'm so excited to be here again.
Welcome. Glad to have you. All right. So, do you have any, since we're talking about dating and then last episode, by the way, you should go check that last episode out. It is on audio only, but definitely go check that episode out. It is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But any updates on dating?
Oh gosh. Yeah, there's been a few updates. Pretty like nothing super exciting. I've gone on a couple dates. I'm still talking to my ex. Not the awful one, but the one that moved to Cleveland. And then the most exciting update is, and I know we're going to get into this a little later about like recycling or going back to guys, but there is a guy that I dated and he is coming back to the area. And so I'm really excited about that.
Okay. Well, for me, I have not been on any dates, but I have been out there trying on the apps on Facebook dating and Hinge. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But
Yeah.
how about you? So you talked about, some a little bit of updates, but have you been on any first dates?
One first date, I think, since the last time. No, maybe more than one. I went on a first date after our podcast, and it was a little bit of uphill. It wasn't as bad as the previous first date, but I think it was like a little too like immature for me. I'm pretty picky, and there were some things, just the way he talked about work and stuff, I didn't love that. But he was very nice and respectful. And then, I did go on a first date. Like a couple weeks ago, I went to the movies, and that was terrible. That was horrible.
Oh, tell us about that.
I don't know why I thought the movies would be a good first date, but he like wanted to hang out, and I think he like wanted to come to my apartment, and I was like, no, like you're not coming to my apartment. And he said like, oh, I've been trying to hang out with you. And I'm like, well, you haven't really suggested anything other than coming to my apartment, and like we're not going to do that. So then we decided to go to the movies, and I saw a movie that I didn't want to see because I was trying to be, like compromised, and it just wasn't good. He made me feel so uncomfortable. Like he was definitely like trying to touch me, and then he like tried to kiss me, and I just like wasn't really feeling that. So I was the one that ghosted. Awful, because ghosting is not good. But yeah, he just reached out to me a couple times and I didn't respond. So sorry.
Well, that is crazy. I mean, the fact that he tried to come to your place like the first date, you don't even know him.
Yes. I'm like, I don't know why people think that's like normal. Like
Right.
you're not coming to my place maybe until like 3 or 4 dates in that I know like you're not a murderer.
Right. That's
And
crazy.
even when I go on dates, I tell them, like, my brother is a detective, and if you murder me, he will find you. And some people think that's crazy. Like, some guys have said I'm crazy for saying that, but I don't know. I've seen, like, there was, like, that Tinder murderer. I'm not trying to be one of those victims.
Right. We did not need you on what is that show, True Crime and things, and you went on a date with some crazy guy. Wow. Well, what about, since as you're dating and everything, the expectations, like what are your expectations? For instance, do you believe in going Dutch? Do you believe that the man should pay if he asks, or do you believe a woman could pay depending on how long they've been dating?
Do you think for the first date, like, a guy should pay? I always offer. I guess this is hypocritical because if they, like, took me up on that offer, I'd probably never go out with them again. But I
Or you gonna be like,
I
"And
know.
he cheap.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
but
why
the
am I
first.
paying?"
Exactly, exactly. But the first date, I definitely think the guy should pay, but I don't think that he should pay every time because, like, why should he support you? And, like, why should he always be buying you meals? Especially, like, this economy is a little rough right now. And
Right,
I know some people believe, like, the girl should never pay. That's just not me. Like, I'm down to buy you dinner once in a while, or I'll buy you breakfast or whatever. Like, I want it to be, like, a partnership. So and I'm independent, I have a job, like, I can afford that.
right,
So that's my view on it, and honestly, I get, like, really turned off when girls are always like, "Oh my gosh, I paid one time," but if it's, like, the 5th or 6th date and he's paid every single time, like, I think that he deserves that because guys deserve to be treated too.
right, right. And for me, like, I think the first date, I'm okay with going Dutch, like, especially, for me, a first date is somewhere like maybe meeting to have coffee or, at a cafe or just somewhere where we can just, talk and everything. I don't necessarily see a first date as going out to dinner. So
Mhm,
definitely, I mean, even the second date or whatever, I feel like that can be Dutch, doesn't necessarily have to be the man paying. That's just me personally, but I've been out of the dating game for a long time, so maybe I don't have the best advice or the best way of thinking about it, but I just think about so many women or, that get into situations where they have this expectation where the man should pay and then
mhm,
it goes wrong. Like, I've seen so many dates like on social media, for instance, where the women expect the man to pay and then, like he gets really like kind of disrespectful, but in some instances I've seen where he's not disrespectful. He's just like, "You're crazy if you think I'm paying, and you ordered all this food, especially."
mhm.
So, that's just my take. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I also think it is kind of unfair, like, if a guy has to pay for the first date, like, this just came to mind, and he's actively dating, like, it probably gets pretty expensive.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what about asking for a number? And I just want to say that, I experienced that with getting back into the dating game and being like on Facebook dating, for instance. And, like I said, I've not dated in a long time or actively dated because life just lifed. But for me, it was uncomfortable for, to match with someone and then they like instantly ask for my phone number. I'm like, I don't know you.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually, like, didn't really bother me before, but then the other day, I was like, "I'm getting a Google number," because I matched with someone, and I didn't know that he could see, like, my first and last name.
What?
Yeah, and, like, he doesn't usually, like, sometimes that happens with, like, an iPhone, but he didn't have an iPhone, and I was, like, kind of freaked out about it because, like, he could search my address, and
Wow.
I was like, I and luckily, like, I don't have any red flags with him, he seems like a very nice guy, but I was like, "I'm gonna get a Google number, and I'm just gonna start giving that out."
Wow, that's good to know because I had no
Yeah.
idea.
I
Wow.
it must be like the carrier because, like, sometimes when people text me, it'll say, like, maybe Stacy, but I never see, like, their last name. So when
Wow.
he, like, knew my last name and my mom's name, because like, my mom is, like, the owner of our plan, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, that's so unsafe."
What? My mouth is open because 'cause I'm like, "That
Yes!
is unsafe."
Me too! I literally
Wow.
put it on my to-do list, like, "Get a Google number."
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be something I'm planning to do too if I'm giving out a phone number, it's gonna be a Google phone.
Yeah. Yes, I mean,
Look,
it's a good
I hope I
idea.
remember to answer it.
I've actually never really used it before, so I'm gonna have to try it out, but we'll see. I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
do
had to
it.
use it for work.
I did too, but I don't think I ever used it. I, like,
Yeah.
had to get one for work, but I don't think I used it.
Yeah, it's just like having a regular phone. Like, you can text, you can leave voice messages. They can leave voice messages and things. So it's almost like having like a regular, like your regular phone number. What about this whole thing with, so you give the man the number and you're like FaceTiming or video calling, because I don't have FaceTime because I don't have iPhone. So it'd be like a video phone call. Are you comfortable doing that? Like the first date, or does it have to be something where you've talked to the man for at least, for a while and got to know him before you want to move to that next step?
I am all about, like, video chatting, like, pretty quick because I feel like it's a good indicator if I wanna keep talking to you or not.
Right.
So, I'm especially, like, if, we're gonna meet on, like, a date
Mhm.
and I'm, like, traveling pretty far, I'm usually like, "We have to FaceTime," because I'm not wasting, like, this trip if we're not going to, like, I hate the word vibe, but if we're not gonna vibe.
Right, right. Well, for me, I was asked that, but I was like, I don't even know if I'm really that interested in you, because it was like I was matched with this young man. I wouldn't say young man because I'm not that young, but this
Mhm,
man, who's my age, and and I've told you this story, but we talked on the phone, but I didn't feel that there was any chemistry on the phone. Like
mhm,
he was okay. He wasn't somebody that I typically would have said I was like attracted to initially, but again, I was trying to think outside the box and, be open to something different.
mhm,
And he asked, could we video chat? And again, I've shared this with you, but that didn't come to fruition because he was kind of rude, and that was a red flag for me on that phone call that we had. But the phone call, I just felt like it was very dry. There was no chemistry. So I was like, what is the point of us even FaceTiming? And I don't feel there's any chemistry like to move forward. I mean, for me personally, like dating, I feel like I have to be interested in you, or like really interested in you. And if I'm getting to know you, I just feel like some of these things that these men are like looking for, like, asking for my phone number, or, or the video chat, is like, can we just chat on this, like, app for a minute just to see if I even,
mhm.
like you, or if I wanna waste my time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's valid. I never give my number out, like, right away. Wait to make sure that, like, the conversation is going okay and nothing, like, red flags pop up. And then I think it's about, like, what you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable FaceTiming, then
Mhm.
especially if you talk on the phone and you don't, like, feel that spark.
Right. And then another situation where when I talked to that young man, well, I don't know why I keep saying young man. When I talk to that man, because when I say young man, someone might be like, "Oh gosh, she's dating some, or was talking to someone 5 or 10 years younger than her." So that's not the case. Or like somebody like, 30. I wasn't. He was my age. So when I talked with that man and it didn't go anywhere, I was matched with another man, and I told you this, and he asked for my phone number, and I was just like, "No," because the last situation that just happened, it didn't go very well. So I was like, "No, let's just chat on here." And he didn't take it very well, but we gonna talk about, rejection that a lot of
Yes.
people are dealing with
I have a good
a
story
little
for
bit
rejection.
longer, a little bit later. So, and then you talked about a little bit about ghosting and things. Have you been ghosted? Because you just said you ghosted that man.
Yeah. Actually, I was recently ghosted by a guy at maybe like April-ish. Like we were talking like all day. And I would say it was like almost love bombing. And he was super handsome. Like we would FaceTime every day. And
Mhm.
then we just like stopped. And I'm not about to chase anyone. So I texted him. He never texted me back. I texted him one more time and I was like, I'm, like, gonna take this as you're not interested, like, good luck. And then not too long after, he got posted on that Facebook group, like, "Are we dating the same guy?" And this girl apparently, like, thought that she was in, like, a very committed relationship with him.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, we would FaceTime every day. So I'm not really sure, like, when you were with him, but we FaceTimed for a couple weeks, like, literally every day.
Wow, wow. Well, it's a good thing that he was on that, Facebook website. We probably shouldn't be talking about that Facebook website, because then some men will be like, "What site are we on?"
I think they know
And
about it.
look,
They're similar.
I'm not gonna edit it out. So if they happen to see it and they figure that out, that, I mean, it's for safety, and maybe they have one
Yeah,
for
and
women. We don't know.
I'm not being, like, specific about who it was posted, so
Right.
because there are, like, rules, like, I mean, people do it anyway, but in the group, there are, like, certain rules, like, you can't screenshot in the post and, like, you shouldn't tell the guys that they were posted there
Right.
and just to, like, protect the women, but some women are, like, awful and they do it anyway. I don't know if I said this last time, but my friend who's a DJ was
Uh-huh.
posted on that website, and he's, like, a pretty popular DJ, and the
Oh,
picture that
wow.
he posted, he made T-shirts out of it and, like, sold it at his next show
Well, that's
with,
smart.
like, the tagline. I was like, "Oh my god."
Wow. That's smart. I mean, I can't be mad at that.
It was pretty funny.
I mean, it's a great way for him to make money and to, brand himself. That's just
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Cardi B, kinda getting off topic, she just had that, court case and she
Yeah.
repackaged her CDs, and it's like the different photos of her during her trial that she was making these faces, and she repackaged it. So, I mean, why not?
Yeah, right?
Wow. Also, are you dating with intention? Because I wanted to talk about that. Are you dating with the intention and what is your intention?
Yes, I'm dating for intention. Like, I would like to settle down and I would like to be in a committed relationship, but I'm not like in a rush. Like, if I go on a first date with someone, I'm not going on a first date thinking, like, oh my gosh, this boy is going to be my boyfriend,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. And like, I don't really have expectations of that happening, especially like on Facebook dating or like Hinge, because I don't want to let myself down.
Right, right.
So,
I am
but I mean,
definitely I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, but I am not just, like, dating to date.
Right. I'm definitely dating with intention. Being a saved woman, I definitely want to get married, but I'm in no rush. But then
Mhm.
again, I am because I've told you and I've told my best friend, if the good Lord foresees me being with a man and I'm 60, I'm just going to say, forget it. I'm not marrying him. And if I do, I'm not changing my last name. We can't live together because I feel like at that point, he's stuck in his ways. I'm stuck in mine. What's the point? And I've been,
Yeah.
Stacey C for 60 some odd years. I'm not changing Stacey C's last name.
You know, I could feel differently, but I don't wanna change my last name either. I really like my last name.
Hmm.
I My last name is pretty unique, and my last name is, like, part of my father, and I lost my father. So, I'm
Right.
not giving that up at all. Like, I might be willing to hyphenate it, but I'm definitely not totally changing it, and I'm, like, pretty dead set on that. And especially, like, I have a lot of degrees and education, and I earned that with my last name. So, I wouldn't keep that.
Right. Well, and in today's society with this administration, they making it very difficult for people to vote. And one of the things I know
Mm,
that they were talking about for women not being able to vote or really having to show documentation of truly who they are. And because, women who had gotten married and their name has changed and it didn't
mhm.
match, the name on their birth certificate, of course. But, when they got married, they decided to take their husband's last name. So that might be a good thing, especially if, they
Yeah.
try to make that a law. It might be a lot of women getting married and not taking their husband's last name, just to be able to vote. I know, like I said, it depends on when the good Lord foresees me to get married, if I get married at all. But if it's like past a certain age, I feel like there's no point of changing this last name. Like I
Yeah.
could just be me and you could be you and we don't have to live in the same house.
Mhm.
Are you using any new dating sites? Because we talked about Facebook dating and we talked about Hinge even on the last
Yeah.
episode. But are you using
Yeah,
any?
well, so I don't think I was on Hinge the last time we talked,
Oh,
but
okay.
I did so I did go on Hinge
Uh-huh.
because that site I was telling you about, this guy I know was posted, and apparently he was using Hinge, and he's very
Hmm.
attractive. So I was like, "Oh, maybe there's, like, some more attractive guys on Hinge." But
Right.
I haven't really had any luck on Hinge. There's been a few guys that I've talked to, but it's nothing. Definitely, like, haven't given my number out on Hinge or anything, and then I'm still on Facebook dating, and I did download Tinder again, which I don't know if that was the smartest decision, but it did.
I had Tinder a long time ago, like a long time ago. My mother probably was alive then. Like,
Wow.
yeah, and everything. I didn't, like, meet anybody. I think I talked to a couple of people because back then Tinder was really what Tinder is.
Mhm.
So, like I said, it didn't go anywhere. But Hinge, I got off of it, actually. Actually, I got off both the dating sites because I wasn't having any success. So I was
Mm.
like, I'm just gonna stop for a minute and then maybe circle back in a few months or something, maybe during like, the holidays when, somebody needs, somebody to snuggle with, maybe. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. But I did get off for a while. But I see that people have more success with Hinge if they pay for it. So
I'm just so against that. Maybe I could try, but I just like I really don't wanna pay for a dating app.
right,
But I don't know, who knows? Maybe in the future.
right.
Going back to being ghosted, I know that you know this story, but a couple weeks ago, I met a guy, like, in real life, and I was so excited, and then he ghosted me. We planned a date, like, 3 times, and he ditched me each time, and then he ghosted me, and I was like, "You're just, like, not the greatest." And I know that that is, like, a little biased, and there are some really great men out there, I just wish they would, like, come out of the woods. But I was so annoyed because I even texted you like, "I just met my husband," and I was so excited,
Aw.
and I haven't heard from him.
I remember you texted me and said, "I met my husband."
Mhm.
And so you still haven't heard back from him?
No, and, like, he would call me every day, and we would talk on the phone, like, every day for a while, and I don't know what happened, like, he we planned a date, and then he bailed, and I was super annoyed, but I'm, like, a pretty forgiving person, and he was like, "I've never, like, dated anyone who's been so understanding," and I was don't get me wrong, I am very annoyed at you, but I'm understanding, and I still wanna, like, get to know you.
Right.
And then he bailed on me again, and I never heard from him. Oh, and like I said, I am not about to chase anyone. If I text you once and you don't answer me, then that's it. And so it's been like 2 weeks and I haven't heard from him, but maybe it's better. Maybe he's breaking someone else's heart.
Yeah. Or maybe you'll see him again, like, you said when you ran into him and it was,
Mhm.
by chance. So maybe you'll see him again. But then again, I agree with you. You gave him a few chances and he ghosted you. So
Mm.
just move on. I'm sorry to hear that. But I also was going to ask you too, like you just said, I don't want to pay for dating sites and things. So I was going to ask you, are you paying for it versus the free version? So obviously you said you're using free.
Yeah, and I feel like they're pretty expensive. I'd have to check, but I feel like it's like $20 a month or something. And I don't know, maybe if it was like $5 a month, I would like try it out, but I don't know if I'm that desperate. And I shouldn't say desperate. Like if you're paying for it, I don't think you're desperate, but just me personally, I'm not doing
Right.
that.
Right. I don't think I'll pay for it either. But I can say that with Facebook dating, I'm okay with using that because sometimes, people on there could be someone that, mutually knows someone else that you know.
Mhm.
So you won't feel like you're being catfished. And then
Mhm.
Hinge, they allow you to verify your profile. So I feel like
Mhm.
that makes you feel a little bit more, safer and you don't feel like you're being catfished either.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about dating stories. We talked about, some expectations. So I want to get back into circling back since you brought that up
Yes.
earlier. And you and I have had this conversation about circling back. So circling back is when you end a relationship with someone or you and that person, y'all end the relationship, however it ends. And then time passed and then you go back to that person. And you and I have had this conversation because we were talking about the show and Just Like That. And we were talking about
Mhm.
the characters, Carrie and Aiden, and how they circle back. And I was telling you that I just didn't think that relationship was going to work from all of the other things because I feel like sometimes when people circle back, you expect yourself and that other person to be the people you were back then, and you're not.
Mhm.
Especially, we're talking about and Just Like That and with Carrie and Aiden's character, they were no longer the people that they were those years ago. Like Aiden had, I mean, they both were married and Aiden had, kids. He had boys. So his life dynamics were different and he still had an ex-wife, whereas, Carrie's husband passed away. And I just was like, that relationship is not gonna work. And then we also talked about Nelly and Ashanti. I think you and I spoke about a little bit because I
We
was telling
did.
you I
Yeah.
saw that as well. And I was just like, I'm not gonna talk about nobody's marriage, because that's real life." But I'm just like, we were just talking about the fact, that, again, they circle back. I hope it works out for
Mhm.
him. God bless him. I'm not gonna talk about someone else's marriage because what you accept, that is your business because, and
Mhm.
what I accept in my future marriage, will be my business. So I'm not going to talk about what somebody else will or will not do in their marriage because that's their business. But what about you? How do you feel about circling back?
So, I think 90% of the time it's a bad decision. And in my experience, when you, like, circle back, that relationship ended for a reason, and when you're going back, you're usually not in the best place, and you're trying to find something that you once had, but you've moved on from that, and I think sometimes it works out and, maybe there is, like, a great love story where it has worked out, but I think you just have to be careful, and you really have to think about, like, why you left that person, and if he hurt you in a way, then he's probably gonna hurt you again, but, like I said, I think there's that 10% chance where it does work out, and I said before that a few like, 2 or 3 years ago, I dated a guy for a year, and we had a great relationship. It was amazing, he was so good to me, we had so much fun. He never hurt me, but he ended up moving to Florida, and I was devastated. I was so hurt that at the time, I didn't feel like he took me into consideration at all, and I had to take a step back. Like, well, maybe we weren't as close as I thought, and it had only been a year, and he was moving for work, so he had to do that.
Mhm.
Later, he did end up telling me that he always regretted me, like, not asking me to come, but he's coming back to the area, and if that chance arises, I am 100% going to circle back and do that because I even texted my best friend, like, "I think he's my person." Like, deep down, he is my person, and he's coming back, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait until he comes back. So,
Okay. So I
I
was
will
gonna
be
ask you
cycling
that. Have
back.
you have you ever circled back? Okay.
Yes, and most of the time, it is not good. I'm currently, like, doing that with my ex right now. Like, we're still talking all the time, and
Mhm.
nothing good is coming from that.
So I'm just gonna say this, and then I'm gonna ask you a question. I've never circled back. I am a firm believer in if things have ended, it's ended for a reason. And it's, not to say it's not like hurtful or anything like that, but I don't circle back. And I want to ask you because you said that you circle back with them, and you don't have to answer, but why? Because I'm asking you because you said good is coming from it. So, but why? So why are you circling back?
Think exactly what I said before. Usually when I'm circling back, it's because, like, I personally am not in the best space and I'm really lonely. And the last time we talked, I told you about my dishwasher broke and I had no
Mhm.
one to fix it. So who did I text? I texted my ex and then I ended up seeing him. So that's why
Mhm.
I do it. And like I said, yes, nothing good comes from it. But I think I'm also getting better because
Mhm.
since that, like our last podcast, my ex has texted me and I didn't answer him. And he would text me for me to come over or him to come over. And I was so proud of myself because nope, I don't want to see you.
So you just talked about the fact that it doesn't work. So why do you think it doesn't work? Is it that the things that transpired in your relationship before that it was never resolved? Do you think that, or do you think there are other factors that could be affecting why it's not working?
I think it really depends. Like I've heard of stories where both people have grown and it has worked out when they came back.
Mhm.
But in my experience, the person is like the same and they've never changed.
Right.
So the issues have never been resolved. The problems are still there.
And when I brought up, like, Nelly and Ashanti, and we were only talking about that because, like, their reality show was in the news, all over social media, not the news, all over social media, people were talking about it and they were talking about, different scenes and everything. And the show and just like that, was finishing up because I had to catch up on the last season. Do you think like in those situations and even your own, do you think that there's jealousy? And I don't mean jealousy of like you're cheating with somebody, but jealousy of maybe when you do circle back of who you are. And so like your significant other may not forgive you. Like they're jealous of like your success, for instance.
I personally never experienced that, but I could
Mhm.
see where that could be a factor.
All right. So we're going to go into the next topic, because we talked about circling back, and now I want to talk about rejection. And I kind of brought that up a little bit earlier because I said that men have a hard time that I've been seeing, and I don't want to say this to like bash men or anything like that. That it seems that it's a struggle for some men that I've been seeing like on social media and things. And actually, I just had a situation yesterday, and I'm gonna tell you about that where men cannot handle being rejected. And first, I want to say that rejection is a sign of incompatibility. Okay. So, have you experienced any like rejecting a man, and then how did he handle that rejection?
Yes. And usually they don't handle it well. And I recently had a situation, and I know I told you about it, where I rejected a guy because I am very patient and I'm very understanding. And he did something that made me feel really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him that it made me feel really uncomfortable and why it made me feel really uncomfortable. And like full transparency, I don't hate on people for what they choose to share with other people, but I'm
Right.
not like that. So I am not going to share my body or pictures of my body with just anyone.
Right.
And I'm very upfront about that. And just out of respect for myself and my career and my future partner, that's just not who I am.
Right.
If you're comfortable with that, like more power to you. And like that's your personal preference. And I explained that to him and everything was great. And then literally 3 days later, he tried to do it again. And I, I was like, I just told you that it made me uncomfortable
Right.
and you did it again. And we were supposed to go on a date, and we live pretty far from each other, so we were gonna meet halfway, which was like an hour for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me, "So, are we still gonna meet?" And I said, "I wish you the best. Like, I hope things work out for you, but I'm not interested." And I thought that was pretty nice. And he just totally went off on me and like put me down and insulted me and bashed me and told me that, I was the crazy one and he told his friends what happened and none of them like thought it was that bad. And I try to be like a pretty like high moral person. So I wasn't going to tell him that all my friends thought he was a pervert, which they do. But I was just like, whatever. Like this isn't even worth my energy. So I blocked him. But it's also I think it's a huge red flag when you treat someone like that. Like if you're gonna treat someone like that you don't even know, like how are you as a partner?
Right.
And I don't want that as a partner. Like I never want to feel threatened by my partner or belittled by my partner. So you are showing your true colors and I really do wish you the best, but that is not with me.
Right, right. And you and I talked about the video that I saw actually on TikTok, and I was telling you that a young lady was assaulted verbally by this man. She told him she didn't want to give him her number, and he didn't handle it well. And she was just walking, doing her exercising, and he was cursing her out, calling her out of her name. He stopped the car he was driving, and she started recording him. And then when he was like, stop recording me, he got out the car and walked up on her. And she did comment that later on that he showed a gun. And she said that's what made her start to record anyway. And then he chased her and like tried to trace her into some like store or something. And she was able to tell one of the gentlemen's in front of the store that he had a gun and he was after her. It was like a store or a gym or something. And they were able to stop this young man from trying to hurt her. And it was all because she refused to give her phone number to him. And he did get arrested, thank goodness, because that shows that you're very violent. But
Yeah, it's so scary.
I know. And I told you about the rejection with the phone number. The man on TikTok told me that I was a 5 and I should be glad that he was talking to me. He Okay, let me preface this and say, I have college degrees and things. And one thing that I would hope the person I'm talking to knows how to use punctuation
Mhm.
in a message. So, first of all,
Mhm.
he said something to me about a woman of my caliber, and he didn't even spell that right, number 1. Number 2, it was no punctuation in that message. So I'm like, "Oh, you want me to read this out?" If I was reading this out loud, I would have died, because punctuation allows you to take a breath, you know? So it was no punctuation, but I was like, "Okay," again, because I was trying to think outside the box and not really, focus on people that are or not people because I don't want anybody thinking I'm dating women because a man, focus on men that I typically don't date. And
Mm.
he got very upset because I did not want to give him my phone number. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then he called me a big back. And then I told him that me and my big back was gonna block him.
Mhm. Yeah, and sometimes I think it's hard to, like, not take what they say personally, like, I used to take it very personally, and then I just came to realize, like, obviously there is something wrong with them, that they are lashing out at you, and I get it, like, rejection, it sucks, and it is
Right.
painful, but it's a part of life, and I think
Mhm.
the way that you handle rejection speaks a lot
Right.
about your character, and, like, I think I handle rejection with grace, and because that's just how I wanna be as a person. Like, I wanna be a very, like, graceful and good person.
Right, right. And another thing that I find that I'm gonna say, in personal, because I had this experience yesterday. And it wasn't really like catcalling because I know we talked about that. So catcalling
Mm.
or asking for a phone number or just speaking to you. So yesterday I was out running an errand. Wasn't in a good mood. Was a little tired as well. And this man was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was just like, "Okay." I didn't say anything because he was not my type. And I'm gonna be honest,
Mm.
he looked a lot older than me. Like he looked to be in his late 50s, early 60s. And I'm like, absolutely not. And I know it's nothing wrong with just speaking and saying hi to someone, but I was like, because sometimes when you do that, some men think that's an end for them to start talking to you some more. So I didn't say anything. And he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I kept walking and he was like, "Good morning." And I didn't say anything else. And he was like, "Good morning." And I continue into where I was going. And as I was walking into the place where I was going, he says, "Well, you must got a nasty attitude. You can't even say good morning." And I'm thinking,
Ew.
read the room, honey, because when you said
Yes.
hello the first couple of times, I didn't speak, so read the room. I'm not
Mhm.
interested. And then I'm thinking,
Yeah.
"You look like a Ninja Turtle." Absolutely not. I'm sorry, that's not
Yeah,
nice.
and I think you have to be aware, right? Because I think it's cute to meet a guy, and, like, that's how I want to meet a guy, like, at Walmart or something, but
Right,
it's all about how I'm responding. Like, if I'm smiling and, like, looking you in the eye, then, like, yes, I wanna talk to you, but if I'm
right,
totally ignoring you, then please don't talk to me, and I know that we talked about this because it's been
right.
happening to me a lot when I've been working out, and
Yes,
it makes me feel so uncomfortable, and I hate that feeling, like, now I have to stop walking with pepper spray, like, I can't even work out in the middle of the day in my
right,
neighborhood because I'm feeling vulnerable,
right,
and I don't know why guys like, I can't see what you look like, and you can't really see what I look like because 'cause you're in a car, but you think it's appropriate to, like, honk and, like, say something at to me while you're driving by me when I'm clearly working out.
right.
Like, no, that is not attractive, and I don't want anything to do with you.
Right. Now, I do wanna say again, Megan and I are not bashing men, I
No.
would be really interested too because I don't see it on social media, and I'm getting a lot of this stuff from social media. I love social media, by the way. What does it look like when women get rejected? I would love to see
Mhm.
what happens, and, definitely, on this episode, if any men, if you have rejected a woman, how has she acted? Did she go off? She what happened? I'd be so interested to know how women react to rejection, like if they're talking to a man or whatever. I wonder how that how they handle it. Do they handle it differently or is it about the same? Because, again, this is
Mhm.
not about bashing men. It's just our experience, as heterosexual women who are dating men. And, no one likes rejection, like you said earlier,
Mm-mm.
definitely. And, and I understand too that with rejection, it's about putting yourself out there. And I know that can be, scary and intimidating as well. But, we definitely don't want to see, men out here becoming violent or, being disrespectful to women. But,
Mhm.
for me, if I see that, that's a clear indication of who you truly are. That's scary actually.
Yeah.
you know. Um, some things I want to talk about too about how to cope with rejection. You know, again, I would love to see how women handle it. Have you ever been rejected? Since, I'm asking, like, how do
Oh my
women
gosh.
handle
Yeah,
rejection?
all the time.
So how did you handle
And
it? Did you curse somebody out?
no, just because, well, I might have cursed my ex out. He totally
Oh
deserves
God.
that. I also it's important, like, to make your intentions clear.
Mhm.
And with my ex, he totally, like, deceived me. Yeah. I think I still handled it, like, very classy? I don't know what the right
Mhm.
word is. Usually, I try not to let it bother me because I don't want it to bring me down.
Right.
But of course it hurts and you always wonder why, like
Right.
what's wrong with me? If you've ever seen the movie, I think I talked about this before too, like Good Luck Chuck. I'm definitely the female version of Good Luck Chuck.
I've never seen that movie.
My gosh.
What is it
So
about?
it's a great it's a great movie. It's about a guy and every time he dates a girl, the girl, like the next guy she dates after him, she gets married to.
Oh, wow.
And so then girls want to date him so then they can find their husband.
Wow.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And Kane Cook, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And I'm the female version of that. Like every long-term relationship I have,
Mhm.
they have gotten married after me. And they've all been terrible people. So I'm glad that I'm not married to them. But it always makes me wonder, like, why wasn't I good enough? Like, what is wrong with me? And they've been like pretty lengthy relationships too, so it's pretty difficult.
Mhm.
And I always thought I'm never gonna get over this person. Even my most recent ex that like broke me, I thought I'm never gonna get over this person. But you do. You learn to live a new life without them and you learn to find your happiness again and you realize that they are not in your story and that's okay.
Right, right. And then like you said, in each relationship, you learn something about yourself too, so it's important to not, take that baggage with you and just, focus on what did you learn about yourself in that last relationship. I think I've been rejected like once and it was because he had a girlfriend and I didn't know it. So I wasn't mad about that because I'm like, well, he not a cheater. So that was like in college. But how you can handle rejection, rejection is very common. And like you just said, your perspective, that was one of the ways that you can handle rejection. It's just it could have been the other person, and it's
Mhm.
not you. And then like you said, it's just, what you learn from it, how you can move forward and how you can grow, which leads to the next one, which is self-reflection. So, again, it will hurt when you receive rejection as you're dating, but you have to give yourself permission to feel that way.
Mhm.
Another way is to avoid negativity. Don't blame yourself for the rejection and don't become bitter. Like you said, you eventually found your happy. You got back to a
Mhm.
different place because, you was able to date other people. Stay busy. So you can surround yourself around supportive people, stay active and stay busy. Cause I can say this, Megan, I told you the other day, like I think last week sometime, I said, girl, you always on the go. You stay busy. So, and it's not a bad thing. It's a really
Mhm.
good thing, and avoid impulsiveness, don't stalk people on the internet. That is not a
Mhm.
good look to be a stalker. So don't
Yeah.
stalk them online or otherwise. And, don't reach out to your ex. If they are
Mhm.
an ex, they are an ex for a reason,
Mhm.
and to keep dating. That's another
Mhm.
way. You have to keep on trying. And that's all the things that you just said, actually.
Yeah.
And one of the last things I want to talk about, what lessons did you learn from your past relationships?
Um, I think I've learned like what I want and
Mhm.
what I'm worthy of, which is partly why I think I'm still single is I have, like, really high expectations now, and I don't wanna settle. So,
Mhm.
sure, have I dated guys that I could probably be content with? Like, yes, but I still believe in love, and I want to be in love when I get married, hopefully.
Bill.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I, like, really don't think that's gonna happen for me. It's just gonna be me and my cat Bella, but,
The cat lady.
just one. I only have one cat. She's around here somewhere, but, she's very loyal to me. She's never broken my heart, and yeah, so I think the biggest thing is just, like, how I should be treated. As I said earlier, with my ex, he's been messaging me and I don't respond because, like, I know how I should be treated and I know what I deserve,
Mhm.
and he's not that person.
Right. Right. I would agree. You do learn what you like over time. I know one of the things from dating, and I think, being like a young woman, like in my 20s and then in my 30s and now in my 40s, my preferences have changed. And I can say that that's a good thing, because like I used to have a preference of height, a preference of a certain look, and I can say that that has changed over time, definitely from my 20s to my 40s, and everything. I still don't want to date somebody that I can look in the eye though, because I'm not that tall. I don't want a short king.
As long as I'm taller than them, I wanna be taller than them, but it doesn't really bother me because my ex was 6'5" and he was a terrible human being.
Right.
So, if you could give me a short king or my height king that treats me really well, like, I will take you. I wear Jordans and not heels, so it'll be fine.
That's a good outlook. That's a good outlook. Yeah. And I also can say some things that I have learned to, like you said, is how I want to be treated, how I
Mhm,
feel that I deserve to be treated, and how I want to treat somebody else, because I don't want to treat someone else's son, disrespectfully either.
mhm.
And not to say that I have in the past, but that's really important to me as well, because and that comes from just life experiences and things. Also, like the qualifications that I want in a man has definitely changed.
Yeah,
Like for
absolutely.
instance, I definitely want someone who is college educated, career driven, funny, just to name a few, is intelligent. Like for me, I can't think of the word where people are like, it means you're like attracted to like someone's intelligence. Like that's what I am. I'm definitely attracted to someone's intelligence. Like you might not be the best looking, man in the world, but you may be attractive to me, but especially if you're like really intelligent, that's more attractive to me.
Yeah. I definitely, want someone who's career driven. And one of my exes, we ended totally amicably, and we're still great friends. He
Mhm.
is a mechanic, and I told him, "We are getting married. That's just it. Like, we're gonna get married, and then you can deal with my car."
It's
Maybe
always
I
good to
will
have a
marry him.
mechanic.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yes. And for me, like now, especially being saved and everything, I definitely want a man who's saved and who loves the Lord
Mhm.
and knows the Lord. And I can say, even though I have one daughter, and as y'all can see, my studios in her room, she's probably a little angry about that, but she'll be all right. It's only temporary. But I don't want to date somebody who has a lot of kids. And a lot
Mhm.
of people might say that that's wrong. And I have one adult daughter, adult in all caps. And I feel like I can date somebody who has an adult, one child, and that's it. I can't do more than one. I just
Yeah,
can't.
and I think that's fine. Like, I think it's okay to have your preferences.
Right, right.
I
But
do think it would be one thing if you said, "I'm not dating anyone who doesn't have any kids," because I think that's a little hypocritical, but
yeah,
you're not saying that.
no. I would prefer them to have none, but one is do you think that you attract a certain type of man?
Yes, the wrong type of man.
Okay. I can't say for myself. I can't say like it's been a specific
No.
type, but No, that's not a lie. You know, have you ever seen that TikTok video where the lady's like, these are the type of men I want to attract? And she shows all these handsome men. And like, for instance, it may be like Denzel or, oh my gosh. And a lot of them are like actors,
Mhm.
nice looking black men actors. I can't even think of some of their names. The one guy played in Queen Sugar. He was the brother, Ralph Angel, the guy who plays Ralph Angel, like him and Idris Elba, those type of
Oh,
men. And then
yeah.
she's
He
like
is
versus
attractive.
yes, versus the guy she actually attracts and they are not attractive at all. Yeah, that's my life. The ones that's not attractive at all that I don't want to attract. That's like the Ninja Turtle that was trying to talk to me yesterday. Now I like the Ninja Turtles, I just don't want to date one.
Would you say Ninja Turtle?
Yeah,
What
because
does
he
that mean?
he looked like Michelangelo, like he had a shell on his back.
I feel
I'm
like did
sorry,
he
I'm
paint
sorry,
his
I'm
body
sorry. Somebody might say the
green?
same thing about me, but that's okay because I'm trying to unbig my back. So,
My
oh
gosh.
gosh, I'm sorry. That's not nice. That's somebody's child. And he's a child of God. I'm sorry, that's not nice. But he just was not my type. Okay, but I do like the Ninja Turtles, just not one in the real life. My last question: do you feel that there is a person for everyone, or do you feel everybody has their person?
No, because, I have known people who have been single their whole life.
Hmm.
And as I'm getting older, I'm 38 and I've never been married. And I wonder sometimes, like, if there's a person out there for me. And sometimes I even wonder, like, what did I do wrong not to have a person?
Right.
And so that's been pretty difficult. So I don't really know the answer to that question. I mean, I would like to hope that there is because there's so many people out there, but
Right.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think so. I think so that everybody has their person out there because, there are so many, like you say, stories of people finding their person. So I
Mhm.
think that there is someone out there for everyone, but I think that I believe, especially being a Christian, that you have to be like God makes you ready for that person. You're not going to receive that
Mhm.
person when you're not in a good space. And you wouldn't want to because you want that relationship to work. And if that's your person, it's going to work. But I also feel too that your person will, love you through the good, bad, and the ugly as well. But
Mhm.
I think that there is. My best friend would probably say yes because she loves love.
No, I do love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love love too. I don't want anybody to think, oh gosh, she's like, she doesn't love love and that's why she's probably single. No,
No, I mean,
I
I
just
love
wanna
love and I'm hopeful for love, but it
right,
just hasn't come my way yet.
right. In the perfect world for me, I would love to like not have to go through like, the beginning stages of a relationship. Like I would love to pretty much find my person and for us
Mhm.
to like have like good chemistry and already like know each other and then he can, get up on my couch, bring some snacks and we can watch these K-dramas
Mhm.
and these Chinese dramas that I like to watch.
Yeah.
And some BTS concerts until they come live. He can
I
be
was
my
going to ask
concert
you
person.
if, your future person has to like BTS.
No,
That would
not
be
at all. Not at all. No, no. Because I feel like, there's probably things that my future husband, man or whatever is gonna like things that I don't like. Maybe he likes the Cowboys and I hate them.
Oh, I don't think I could do
Or the
that.
Giants, or the
I'm not
Washington team, because I'm an Eagle fan, So he might
yeah.
like them and be a diehard, and I'll be like, "What is wrong with me?"
Yeah, I can't be a Cowboys fan. I think that wouldn't work out so well for me.
Right. Or maybe he might not like sports. Maybe he's like, into something else, and I
Mm.
might not be into that. So, I don't know. Alright, well, I just wanna thank you again for coming on my show for the 2nd season, and, this is gonna go on YouTube, by the way, just let you know.
Gosh.
You'll be fine. Alright, I just want, any what they call them again? I just would love the chat to please share any comments about your dating stories or any successes that you've had with dating, any dating sites in the comments below. You can share on YouTube, you can share on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And I want to thank you for listening to the show. And I want you to also in your comments tell, especially if you had successful dating, how did you meet that person? And
Yeah, give
also,
us some tips.
yes. And also, if you think that everyone has their person, I want you to definitely share that. And any men out there, because again, we weren't, this is not a show to bash men. If you have, had a woman and you rejected her, please share that story. We would love to read and hear about that. So I hope that you have all enjoyed season 2, episode 1 of You Grow Girl podcast. And I am your host, Stacey C. Again, I want to thank you, Megan, for joining me today on this show and giving an update with dating. And we'll definitely do this again and probably not just talk about dating.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I'm gonna keep practicing so I get better at podcasting,
Oh my goodness, you were great. Thank you.
which I didn't practice at all, but next time I'm gonna be better, more professional.
You were great. You were fine. Thank you so much. All right. So please do not forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. And I hope that you make time to grow, girl.